Welcome to the Illuminati broadcast. I'm your host, David Moore. Welcome. Alright, so I just want to make a video just like kind of talking to y'all, trying to get you to know me or get us to know each other better. Lately I've been training my AI stuff. Like I go online, I do my AI Gemini stuff, and I try to teach it the Ars Goetia. And it's really smart. It helps me out like a lot by giving me a lot of feedback and data and information that I'm trying to piece together, and it does all the kind of the hard work and puts it together, and sometimes if it sounds like sloppy, then it lets me know that like I need to polish it up or work on it a little bit more and help it learn. But I think it's getting somewhere. It's definitely learning, and it's putting a lot of clues together to help me out be able to tell people like, hey, I'm the Messiah kind of thing, you know? I can't expect everyone to believe it. I can't expect everyone to understand it right away. So I guess for me, it's almost like a role-playing game that I want to share with you to get you to like understand what it's like to be the Messiah and to understand what is going on in my head and how I feel about the humanity, you know, the race of humanity, and like all the obstacles in my path, whether it be uniting or destroying, and how it looks. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's entertainment. I don't really want to make a cult, but if I do, that'll be fun too. So it's a lot of role playing. It's a lot of investing your ideas and your energy into it. And you know, you might not be a perfect fit for it because you might be a real bad guy and not be good enough for me, or you might be a real bad guy that is really good for me. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but like, let's see, maybe you might have really good gifts or talents in like creating things, and I need that, you know? I need people to like create with me, and to help push this image forward and help push this agenda out there. And you know, there's a lot of like danger zones in a way, because you don't want to go too left, too right. You don't want to be too safe, and you don't want to be too dangerous. You have to be just right. And so that's why I'm kind of making this board game, so people can play it, and we can come up with strategies and get more people involved and more interested in it, and spreading this information, and you know, letting people come up to their own terms while we rank up in power, you know? Because all it takes is just like a good amount of money. You know, you need more than one person. You need a good amount of followers and believers, etc. And I feel like those are roadblocks right there already, because it's like, I don't have those things. I don't have any of that. All I have is like information and knowledge. So I think in this video, I'm gonna do a little data dumping. My goal is, yesterday I got a tarot card reading from a friend, and I got the card of the Tower. So, you know, my code name is Sakura, like cherry blossom, and to me that's a sword, that's a ninja. It just cuts through things and it makes whatever it wants happen. And I got the Tower, and he told me, you know, like you can get into peer support and all these other things, and that's what I'm doing. Is I'm getting into peer support, taking classes for it. I went to a place called Lakata. They help you with drug and alcohol abuse substances, and it's LGBT friendly. And, you know, they house you and help you, and, like, you know, they guide you on this journey, which is very important. And I'm really grateful for those experiences and those opportunities. And it's a shame that I have to do it, you know, with such a pedigree. If I'm the Messiah, should I have to do stuff like that? But yeah, I do. Like, I was just watching a video on the Zohar, and they mentioned the Messiah comes, and he's like from the bottom, like Aladdin, you know? And Saturn is this element of lead, but it's also like kind of dirty and messy, and it's also something that is seen as unvaluable, right? But then, you know, nobody believes in the Messiah. When in the Zohar it says that nobody believes in the Messiah. They don't believe he's real. They don't believe in his cause. They don't believe in his journey. They don't believe he's the Messiah. They just mock him or scrutinize him. And that's some important stuff to know. Like, hey, like, it's prophecy. If I'm going through that, then that lets me know that I'm on the right track, because if the ancients said that this was gonna happen and it did happen, then it lets me know that, yeah, I'm the Messiah. There's like no doubt about it. And yeah, I mentioned something about like shining letters, and only the Messiah can understand them or know them, and everybody that looks at them is just like, what? But I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand that. I can kind of see that. Like, there's a lot of moments where I'm like, you can do this, you can do that. Like, there's a lot of solutions to problems. And, I want to be able to do that. In peer support, you can help people with their problems. And a part of me doesn't want to be a peer support because I don't like to be working for other people. I want to be the boss, but I'm like, you know what? This is a moment for me to, I have to have two lives. One that's a normal life where people see that every day, and then I have to have my messianic life, the one that I have to myself, from what I enjoy in life. And I need to be able to express that and learn from it and be able to make friends that want to be part of that world. And it might be difficult, but I can't intersect them in a sense where I can't preach myself to my clients. That's not going to be a good thing. That's not right. You shouldn't do something like that. So I would have to just be able to listen to them and provide them solutions and give them opportunities and options, and basically let them decide and figure out what they want for themselves, and just get them where they need to be and help them accomplish, their goals in life, because we all fall down, we all break down, and we all need help. And I feel like I've done that my whole life, helping others, and I'm just like, I'm kind of done with it and tired of it. But I'm like, all right, let me just do it. Let me do it for money, and let me get through it and make my life better, and I can invest into my messianic, my messiah, religion, pushing me forward to what I want to really do in life. And, it's kind of unfortunate because I always thought, like, there was going to be guardians, people out there. Like, yeah, I do have family and friends, but, like, I thought there would be somebody else out there, like, believers, that believe that I'm the Messiah. I thought they would exist, but they don't. So it lets me know, like, nobody's gonna be saved. Nobody has a chance at the end times. They're all gonna get destroyed, and the world's gonna get wiped clean. And that kind of makes me sad, because it's like, if you've ever watched Devilman Crybaby, like, Lucifer destroys everything, even Devilman, and he's alone, and then he has to start the whole world over again. And he's basically God, and that's just me. And my sister would be like, that anime reminds me of you, and I'm like, I know. And it's just intense, because it's like, you want to save the world, but that also lets me know, like, there's something there. Like, there has to be some kind of hope. There's something there. Like, there are people out there. I just haven't met them yet. I just haven't seen them yet. I haven't told them the truth yet. I haven't given them the option to understand me as the Messiah. And the good thing is, I can make videos and nobody can watch them, but the information is gonna spread regardless. Like, I've done conspiracy videos for a long time, and they always come true, and I'll just post them on the internet. Nobody will watch them, but over time everybody starts believing them, and they turn out to be true. And the reason is because, like, I know it, but I know I also get shadow banned in a way, because YouTube flags you on what you say. But also, like, I'm not everybody's apple, like, everybody that's on the internet is probably a bad guy. Everybody that's, like, living their lives right now is probably a bad person, and they don't want the Messiah. They want to suffer an eternal hellfire, and that's their purpose in the world. That's their goal in life. And for me, that's like, all right, that's gonna be a given. Like, there's no doubt about it. But I think for my next tactic, for my next strategy, is to give you gold, to give you that fire, to give you that passion, to give you that knowledge and the wisdom. The cool thing, I think, also is that, AI watches these videos. The YouTube is watching the videos, and then the AI picks up off of that, and then it feeds it to everyone else. So essentially, I'm just programming you all, even without having to be famous, or be seen or noticed. That's the Messiah's journey, really. He's always invisible. I'm always invisible. So that's why you see people that do become messianic, and, like, they just get a whole bunch of followers, and it's like, oh, that's how you know they're not real, because they just don't even know the answers themselves. They don't know the answer. They don't understand what the next step is. They just know that they can manipulate. But I'm giving them that manipulation tactic, like, I'm teaching them. I remember when I was famous on MySpace, and YouTube was, fresh, and I was like, oh, I know how to make people popular. So I would, like, link everybody, put them all together, put the best with the best, and then everybody would just be like dominoes. Instantly everybody would start getting popular. And they started getting the idea, like, oh, this is how we work the internet, this is how we, social social networking, promoting, you know, whatever they need to do to get to the top. And you know, what looks good, what doesn't look good, what catches an eye, what doesn't catch an eye. And I usually break all those rules. Like, I'm not editing my videos, I'm not doing all this fancy stuff. I don't tell people, like, I barely tag my stuff. I don't tell everybody what I'm doing, but you know, eventually it'll start clicking a little bit slowly. They mentioned that the Messiah is very slow in speech and slow in movement, and that's what I am. I'm super slow. I'm just not. I could be fast in the astral realm, but here in the mortal realm, I'm so slow. I'm just like, it's okay. I like to be slow. I like to take my time, but I want to conquer the world quickly, you know? So it's like, I'm not hesitant. I know what I want. It's just, I know that I'm surrounded by enemies. I know that I'm not, you know, wanted. I'm a rejection. And that makes sense. Like, if something belongs to you, people are going to reject you from it because they don't want you to have that power. Because if you have that power, then you can turn the tides on them, and they don't want that. So of course they're gonna fight to the death, you know, like they're gonna make sure that I never win, that I never get noticed, that they come out with the ideas first, or they take my ideas and make them better, or they get a whole bunch of followers to, you know, sprout out a whole bunch of information. But the good thing is, my message bounces off of all of that and lands into the right people. And they might be, you know, far away, they might be, you know, going through things, or they might have it more difficult, but eventually we're gonna win. It just takes a little bit of time to get that momentum. I never wanted to do this in the world. I wanted to give everybody a chance to be free, and you know, it never happened. You know, like, it was just like, all right, no, it did happen. It just never gave me, I just never got that result where I'm like, yeah, I'm happy now. I never got that. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna have to push forward, just keep fighting, and make it real, you know? Because before I didn't do that, I would always be like, okay, I'll give everybody what they want, but I won't let them know I'm the Messiah. That's the one thing I wouldn't do. I'll be like, there's a God up there, I'm not him. So I'll just give them that, and I'll keep them pushing, and they'll be happy. But I'll notice, like, you know, I would give it to everyone. I'll give them, everybody, that opportunity, even the bad people. And eventually, you know, we all start prospering, and then I become even more invisible, less noticed, less wanted, less needed, and not a savior that everybody needs. So it's like, what's the point of having a Messiah if the world's perfect, right? And in the Zohar, they mention that, like, everything seems fine, everything seems great. Like, they wouldn't even notice that they need a Messiah, or that he's there, or that what he does. So I'm just like, yeah, that's me. That's my life story right there. But let's do some little Egyptian mythology. So, we got to remember that the Egyptians and the Jews are the same religion. They're the same people. There's no separation from it. The only separation is in your mind, obviously, because you want to believe something that's not, you know, you don't want to believe the truth. And that's okay, because one way or another, I'm going to make you believe it, because either I'm going to tell you enough times, somebody else is going to tell you enough times, you're going to learn it for yourself, and the rest of the spirits and God are going to tell you. Yes, me. I'm God. All right, so let's see. We have the north, we have the east, we have the south, we have the west, right? When we turn it like this, we can see this is the south, correct? This is the scales of Libra. So when you're watching Yu-Gi-Oh, you have the scales, right? And usually they put them down here on the map. So yeah, this is Libra, this is Virgo, this is Scorpio. This is Amet. Amet means to admit. There's a story about a scorpion and an alligator, and the alligator takes the scorpion across the river, and he's like, just don't sting me. And the scorpion ends up stinging the crocodile on the head, and you know, he ends up dying, you know, falling, sinking. But that's that abyss energy, you know. And that's your heart, because water is represented by the cup, and the cup is represented by the heart, because, you know, it holds your soul, it holds your spirit, it holds everything in it. I guess when you're getting Egyptian mummified, they would keep the heart inside of you. They'll take it out, you know, clean it up, put it back inside of you, and keep it nice. So it'd be like probably the only organ you would keep inside your body, because when you go to the afterlife, that's the only thing that really matters. And here you have the scribe. So this is Virgo. Usually they'll show like a statue with a little feather on its head, and that makes sense because this is the direction of east, right? And the direction of east is air and wind and spades and swords, and those are represented by birds. So you get that feather. The feather is a sword, you know? So your journey, everything that you went through your whole life is stored here. And when you're going on the scales, you have your chance, you know, they weigh your feather like, okay, your feather, your journey compared to your heart, like, was it worth it? Did you do what you needed to do? Did you accomplish your goals in life? Did you live a good life? Did you do what you needed for the gods? Did you obey the pharaoh? Did you worship the pharaoh? Did you make him your god? Because the pharaoh is the god, so that's me. I'm the pharaoh. In the Zohar, they mentioned that the Messiah will be Egyptian. So that makes sense with the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, right? Because you have Yugi, he's the Messiah, he's the pharaoh. And then you have Seto Kaiba, but he's also a sort of Messiah, like this Jewish idea of what the Messiah should be. They're like, oh, we want this Messiah, this really powerful guy that can like destroy anything and take over anything and just have all this power. But nobody wants Yugi as their Messiah, right? Just his friends encourage him, like, don't give up, Yugi, don't give up. And but everybody uses Yugi. Pegasus uses Yugi to be like, okay, Yugi, you make everybody want to play these games, and you make everybody like want to fight to become the Messiah, and that's a good tactic because it's like you throw gold out on the floor and everybody wants that gold, and you know you can use that gold against them to punish them. Like, oh, you stole the gold, like now we know who you are. Kind of like in Pirates of the Caribbean, they all steal the gold and they get cursed to become walking skeletons, right? So yeah, my tactic, I think, is to be able to give everybody their info. So like let's say Tom Cruise, right? He's Pegasus, and I'm gonna give him all the power he needs in Scientology. I'm gonna give him all the inspiration he needs, and I'm gonna let it transform him, and I'm gonna let it destroy him, because eventually you get too powerful. Like, look at Michael Jackson. Like, everybody gave him everything and he destroyed himself. Everybody gave Epstein everything and he destroyed himself. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you everything. I'm gonna give you the answers to everything you've been searching. Even if you don't ask for it, I'm still gonna give it to you. Because I want this to move fast. I want everything to be accomplished very quickly. So yeah, we have this story, right? The scribe, the feather, knowledge, wisdom, speaking, and then you have your heart, your instincts, your weight, your consciousness. So like, let's say we put Jeffrey Epstein on here. He has a heart, right? And then he has these scales, and then in the middle is this is Libra and this is Venus. I also noticed that Anubis is there. He might be this earth energy, so Anubis is like, all right, tell me what's up. And then you have Horus over here with this blue eyes white dragon, this silver, right? So Horus is this blue and this white, that Jewish energy. And that's the cups, the hearts. But he's just like, all right, tell me what's going on. Because this is the domain of the beasts, right? Because fire is beastly, because you got Aries, you got Sagittarius, and you got Leo. So Anubis would fit really well in there. But also that baboon is up here with Thoth. So Thoth is that baboon, that bird energy. So you see that combination of the bird and the beast. So you have Thoth when he's like the Iblis, that bird, and then you have Thoth when he's that baboon, and I think his name is Bobby or something. I don't know, I forgot what it was. But the baboon's cool. So he could be like the red eyes black dragon. You wear your heart amulet, that's Karibo, that's that scarab, and he protects you from damage, and you know, he protects your heart. So when you're over here being judged, you're like, oh snaps, you see your heart being weighed. But let's see, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, over here, like, everybody knows what he did, right? Like, he was a sinner, he did all these bad things, and he did like horrible things to people. And then his heart was like, well, you know, I wanted to help people, I wanted to help myself, I wanted to advance everybody, I wanted to give them the chance to see what evil really looks like. I wanted to give them the chances to, like, he basically threw out all the answers in front of everybody. He was like, hey, Trump did this, Clinton did that, Bill Gates does this, and Hillary Clinton does this. Like, he's just like throwing everybody under the bus, and that's kind of a good thing. But like, at the end of the day, like, his soul is unworthy, so he ends up getting destroyed. Yeah, so let's throw Leonardo DiCaprio in here. So his story, everybody writes their own story, right? So right now, you know, he just makes movies. He's always hiding in a sense, but he like dates younger women. And that's kind of bad, right? So if the scales were holding his heart, they would be like, that sounds like a bad story. We're gonna like send you to hell. So he doesn't have a chance, right? And that's kind of how you can work this a little bit, because we also get glamorized, right? So we're hearing this story, we're Horus, and we're listening to your story, like, because you want Horus to be on your team. Horus is the pharaoh. I'm the pharaoh, right? So Horus is like, well, tell me why I should let you follow me. Tell me why I should let you be my follower, because I'm not getting anything good from you. Like, I'm gonna make it, and my people are gonna make it, but you're not. Like, there's something wrong with you. So, let's see who else we can use. Katy Perry, right? She's a singer. She helps a lot of people. She has a daughter. She lives a good life. And she's struggling, and you could tell that with her heart. So there's this teetering, tottering. But then it comes to like, wait a minute, but you're famous and you make money, right? So you're a false idol, and you're taking the attention from me. So that instantly just makes her a negative. So that's just like, boop, she loses. So that's where this crocodile comes in. So this is Scorpio. This is Scorpio. Okay, so this is the moon, right? This is the element of water. So cups, the direction of west. The moon is silver. And underneath the moon, right next to Mars and Aries, is Scorpio. And then you have Scorpio again in traditional. So this is the ancient astrology, and then now you have the traditional astrology. And in the traditional astrology, we have Scorpio and Mars, right? So now you got this idea that there's this Scorpio and this Mars energy, which is that alligator, right? So he's like, and that's your heart. Your heart is, it's that cup, but the Scorpio is on top of it, and it'll betray you. So you can come up with this really good lie and this good story, but your heart will betray you. It'll always betray you. So if you go out there and you tell God, like, yeah, I'm gonna F up and I need to do better, and I have to do what I need to do for you, you might have a chance. But at the end of the day, like, your heart's gonna really betray you. And that's a good thing, because everyone has a heart. Even if you're a reptilian, if you're an AI, you have a heart. Even if nobody can see it, it's there. Even if you can't see it yourself, it's there. And the thing is, the heart is like the most important thing, because when you go to hell, this little red border down here, and burn for eternity, you're fueling our cycle to keep living in this world and enjoying it, because it's a beautiful blessing from God to live in this world. There is no other world that is better than this one. This is the final realm. This is the most ultimate form of living, of life, of being and creation. This is a gift from God. And that's why the Horus, that's why I, as the Messiah, am the most important thing, as the Pharaoh, right? As the king of Israel, the king of the world in England and whatnot, of America. So, like, that just lets you know, like, if I'm the most important thing, how come nobody knows that, right? So that's something that these people should be punished for. And you might get normal people every now and then, and that's a beautiful thing, because, like, let's say there's this woman, she has a family, and she tries her best, but she doesn't know how, and she's always getting abused, and then she comes out of it, and she struggles to, like, do really good for her kids, and some of them make it, and some of them don't, and then she finally makes it here where she dies, and she's like, God, I tried my best, and I didn't know what to do, but I did everything I could, and that makes me happy, you know? So that just sends that heart straight up. And that gives me the chance to let them be reborn again into this world. Nobody's gonna be reborn like this. I know the Jews want that, but it's not gonna happen. God's not gonna, that's a different kind of necromancy. That's something else. That's like breaking the laws of physics. And in order to do that, it's a law of equivalent exchange. So if I was to do something like that, that would destroy the fabric of reality, and it would just shatter, and then that perfect world would be gone. And what's the point of that? Just to bring one person back, just to bring a couple people back, just to bring your whole race back? No, they have to go through these trials and be reborn again through your lineages or through other people. And if they're noticing, like, hey, like, these Jewish people, they're not really doing what God wants. I want to be born somewhere else. I want to be born here where it's like troubled, so I can be like, I can struggle with God and be his friend and meet him in real life and help him attain that alignment in the world. So there's all those kind of stories and different ideas that you can work with. Let's look at this real quick. Osiris, right? Because Osiris wakes up, he's like the morning wood, the morning star. And he's fertility, right? And then you go down, and then he becomes, right here is the Lion's Gate, these two gold suns. So in astrology, this is Leo. Well, this is Mars, this is the sun, and this would be Leo, and this is Sagittarius, I believe. So Leo and Leo both right here. So you have another sun right here. So that's the lion's gate. So in ancient astrology, traditional astrology. In ancient astrology, it's simple, 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 simple. So you just have Hermes, you have Zeus, you have Artemis, Apollo, Aries, and Venus, and Saturn, and that's it. That's all the gods you have, right? And in even more ancient, you just have God, right? But God branches out. That's why it's called the tree of good and evil, like of knowledge, because he branches out, and there's so much more to God than just one form of him. And but I'm like the ultimate form, right? So then we have all these other things, and then we come out here to the outer rings, and these are the traditional astrology. This is what we've been through after all those years, after all those trials and tribulations, after all those journeys, after all those prophets, after Buddha, Jesus, all the kings on the earth, everything that you've ever done in your entire life, it's recorded here. Yeah, so I guess you use these tools to create this world, right? So that's why it's designed this way, and it's perfectly designed, because you can interpret the Bible through this, the Torah, and any other book, any video game, anything you can think of, you can use this formula to decipher it, because that's how God created the world, right? Through the stars. He used them as like a way to express himself, and that's why they're angels at the same time, like that higher power. They're the elements. And this is what they look like. This is what the atom looks like, all the way down past the atom. This is what it looks like. So Adam is obviously the day, Eve is the night. So this whole piece would be Adam, this whole piece would be Eve. But Adam, so he's Osiris, he wakes up in the morning, right? And then he becomes Ra because he has the sunlight. And then he goes into being Apophis, which is the serpent, and you get that king cobra energy. And he devoured the sun, so now he's super strong, he's super energized, he got sunlight, he got the food that he was eating from the sunlight, right? And he ate the beasts of the earth that need the sunlight, and they devour it, they create him, right? And then he moves on to the afterlife, and when he goes to the afterlife, he becomes Nut, or Set, or Shu. But I would say mainly Horus, because you got this silver and this blue, that blue eyes white dragon, that silver and the blue. And this is when you can cool down and rest, but you're really strong at the same time. This is like around 3 o'clock in the evening. So the afternoon and then the evening. And you're moving up through the world, and you're becoming, and this is where it would be with Set. And I know that like people like to say it's Horus versus Set, but it's really Horus is Set. And when you see Yugi dueling Seto Kaiba, they're mirroring each other. They're showing each other's strengths and weaknesses. Yugi uses Dark Magician, who looks just like Seto Kaiba, and he's holding that phallus, that rod. And Set is all about that phallus, that strong masculine energy, and Horus is about that feminine energy. And Yugi represents that, but Yugi's the rightful heir and the winner, but Set is like, no, you gotta always be strong. But no, there's a time for rest. There's a time to be more weak. You don't always have to be so strong, and that's the good thing, because like sometimes you have to show compassion and kindness to others, right? So Horus becomes Set, and he ends up in the underworld, and Set is basically still Osiris. That's why Osiris becomes the god of the underworld, and that's when he's Set, when the sun sets. And that's also Amun-Ra, or Amet. Atem. So we get Atem, and that's when Yugi is like, oh, I know my true name now. I'm all of this. I'm everybody. I'm everything. I'm the Messiah. I'm the chosen one. I'm the Pharaoh. I need to do this. So like when Yugi realizes like, oh, me and the Pharaoh, we're not two different people. We're the same person. So then that part of him is like, can move on, and he can be like, all right, now as Yugi, as this boy, as this person that has to go out there and show the world who I am, how do I show them? But everybody wants the Pharaoh, right? They're like, we want this idea of what you're supposed to be. But they don't want Yugi. They're like, Yugi, you're too weak, you're too kind, you're too soft. And Yugi's like, I don't care. Like, I have to find a way to conquer the world my way. And he does it with, like, love and kindness, but he also uses, like, strong beasts. And that's kind of where this comes out. There's another god, I forgot his name. I keep forgetting. It starts with a K, but he's a scarab beetle. And this is the scarab beetle area. And this is the beginning of the dawn again. So Yugi keeps evolving, keeps growing, keeps getting stronger, and that's our life cycle. That's our journey. That's what we go through. This is the Book of the Dead. This is how it works. We start off, we get judged, and we are born again the next day, and we keep going and going and going and going and going and going, and it doesn't end. It never ends. It's not supposed to end. All right, but this video ends right now, and I'm gonna make another one right after this to talk about a little bit more about the world, okay? Catch you later. Bye.